Hi Sylvia.
Hello.
I'm Anna, nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you too.
Okay, thanks for coming in today. So you've been to the clinic a few times before.
That's right.
And we're here to have a bit of a review and a chat about how things are going with your condition, how you're managing. Yeah. Can I tell you what I'm interested in getting out of the session, and then I'm going to ask you what you'd like to bring to the session?
Okay.
So I'd really like to find out how you're getting on the methotrexate, which you've been taking for some time now. And I'd also like to think about you as a whole as well, and think about whether there's any other part of your life or your lifestyle that we could talk about that could even enhance your health and your well-being further. Yeah, it might be a little bit different to what you've usually been used to. We're trying in this clinic to kind of look at the whole person and make sure that you're doing everything that you can to be as healthy and as happy as possible, because we know it's all interlinked.
Okay, yeah.
What are your first impressions of that? How does that sound?
Well, it sounds very interesting. I don't know whether I'd be any help to you, really.
Okay, well, it's definitely about you and seeing if there's anything in your life that might help you further to be happier and healthier, that all interlinks with your arthritis. But we can talk about that more in detail. So those are the two things I wanted to cover today. What would you like to get out of the consultation?
I suppose what I usually get out of the consultation is, how's it going with the medication, and how have your flare-ups been, and last time it was you could do with losing a few pounds.
Right, okay.
Which I haven't.
Okay, so that's something that's on your mind clearly, about your weight. Perhaps that's something that you'd want to talk about today?
I suppose so, yes, yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing we can talk about. You also mentioned that usually you go through how things have been generally with your arthritis and how you've been getting on with the medicines.
Yes.
So that's something I wanted to go through as well. How about we cover that first?
Right.
And then we have a little bit of time talking about the weight as well.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me, how have things been getting on with the arthritis?
Well, I mentioned it at my last consultation. I have been getting a few more flare-ups over the last, 9-10 months, something like that. That's, I suppose it's something I've got to expect, really.
So you've noticed a substantial increase in those flares?
Yeah, more regular, I suppose, yeah.
And that's something that you feel is just expected, that you were supposing was going to happen anyway?
Well, I sort of, in a way, I just sort of expect it,
Tell me a bit more about why that is.
Well, because I've had this condition since I was 25, and this, I'm taking all sorts of tablets for it. It's just become part of my way of life. I've got really, I suppose, more important things to think about. And
what do you mean by that?
Well, you see, my husband Richard, I don't know if you know about this, he's got diabetes. He was diagnosed 5 years ago, and that's really serious, and he's not very good at managing his appointments and things like that, so I do.
You cover a lot of that.
This is it, yeah.
So Richard is actually quite a big concern for you in your life.
Yeah.
And that factors into, tell me, how does that factor into you and your health and all the medicines you said you're taking a lot?
I suppose I concentrate more on him and his medication and his food, particularly. And arranging all his appointments, and it's something that I'm busy with.
Takes up a lot of your time, right? Yeah. And it sounds like you care for him an awful lot as well. So this is something at the forefront of your mind at the moment. Okay, and how does that impact on the medicines that you're taking? So I know you're taking some statins and things as well as the methotrexate. How is that going?
Well, this person clinic that I went to, when the nurse suggested I took these, said I'd got high blood pressure, and she said, I'll give you some tablets for that, and then she gave me these statin things which she didn't sort of explain what they were for, or
So it sounds like you're feeling a bit confused about that part of the medicine.
This is it, and I'm, I am taking so many medicines, and when you read the leaflet inside, it sort of, all the side effects and things like that. You never know, do you?
So the more medicines, the more concern you're feeling about for your own health. So tell me how it's going with the methotrexate in particular.
I'm usually quite good, because I manage all Richard's health concerns. But I don't know. I know I'm supposed to be totally regular with these 2 tablets that I'm supposed to take, and
you're struggling with that a little.
I have to admit I have forgotten on occasions. So,
so it sounds like so far what you're telling me is that your arthritis as a whole, you're quite used to living with it. You've lived with it for quite a while, but the medication use, you have taking more medicines at the moment, and the flares are actually increasing a little. So it sounds like things could be better. It also sounds like you're spending an awful lot of your time and focus on Richard, rightly so, because you're caring for him and you're looking after him. But it sounds to me like you're also feeling a little bit concerned that you're not spending as much time looking after yourself as you could be as well.
I suppose you're right, yeah. I mean, his conditions, like I said, I understand how serious it is, or it could be,
Absolutely, it's serious for you and for him, so together it must be quite a difficult thing to balance those 2 parts. What would be a good reason for you to have your health the best that it can be?
I suppose I'd have more energy, because I suppose my energy's not the best it could be, because I need to have that energy. I need to have that sort of strength for Richard.
Right. So the healthier you are, the better you can look after Richard.
Yes.
So what do we need to look at today in terms of getting your health the best that it can be? So we've spoken a little bit about the medications, and it sounds like you're having some trouble taking it as regularly as you want to, but you've also talked to me about weight a little bit. So could we visit that now as well, so we can think about which you'd like to focus down on today? So tell me how the weight is affecting you. You said you had it sounded like surprising news about somebody telling you to put on
lose a few pounds. Well, I've always thought, since I turned 60, I have started to gain weight, and I don't know. I suppose in a way I've ignored it for a while until the last rheumatologist pointed it out.
So you've not been able to ignore it.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, what are you thinking about that now at the moment?
Really, how to go about doing it.
About losing weight.
Yeah, I think you need to concentrate, don't you, on something like that. And I just don't have the time.
So you feel like it could be a difficult thing to do, and you don't always have the time to look after your weight, but it's something that you want to do if you could.
Yeah.
And how do you think your weight might relate to your health in general, your arthritis or anything else?
Well, I can imagine that the heavier that I am, the more, I don't know, effort my joints have to make, and that, I suppose, could contribute. It might contribute to the flare-ups, and so I was just going to say, I feel a bit lethargic.
Right, so it's that energy again that you really want back, a little bit more zest for life if you can, and your health is kind of holding you back a bit. Okay, so can I share with you a little bit about what we know about weight and health?
Okay.
So absolutely, the more, as you said, the more weight that you have, the more strain it can put on the joints, and it can, sometimes people in this clinic have said that it can really put them off wanting to go out and do more exercise. And also wrapped up with the energy as well, the motivation can be less because it seems particularly difficult. but it does sound like it's something that you would get a lot out of. It sounds like it's important to you to get more energy back to look after Richard and to feel a little bit more of a boost.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And so I'm wondering how you'd like to spend the rest of the session today. Would you like to talk around your weight and managing that with me a little bit more today, or we could focus on the medication use? We haven't got loads of time, but I'm happy to spend the rest of the session really having a chat with you about what you might be able to do.
Well, I do need to know about these medications and sort of get focused on being able to take them as I should, but also, I mean, the weight issue is important as well.
So they're both quite important to you. If you were going to address one, and which would you think would make the biggest difference to your life?
Losing weight, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And why is that? Tell me a bit more about why that would be.
Well, there's a number of reasons, I suppose. One, that I mentioned first of all about I'd feel more energy. But then again, I suppose that leads on to, if I feel more energy, I might feel feel as I'm a bit younger. I mean, I am only 63 after all, which is not old, but I am beginning to feel old.
So you're feeling a little bit older than actually you are, and so you want to get on top of that. And so it does seem to be about you getting a bit more energy.
Yeah.
And so tell me a bit more about that energy. What would it be like for you to have more energy day to day? How would that feel?
I think I'd have a clearer head. I keep saying this word like focus. And if I've got a clearer head, then I can concentrate on Richard, which I do anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe concentrate on my medications.
Right.
And just feel better in myself.
Okay, so you would feel better in yourself. You would be able to concentrate on Richard even more than you are now.
Yeah.
And it would maybe help you to stay on top of your own medicines as well.
Mm.
So those seem like really, really good reasons to try and make a difference to your weight at the moment.
Yeah.
And it does sound like something you've been thinking about since the last time that person mentioned it.
That's right. Yeah.
So what do you think needs to happen in order for you to begin to make a change somewhere in your lifestyle?
Well, the thing is, I've never really talked about, weight. It's always been in my mind, and Richard's never said anything, and, the kids have never said anything. So the fact that I've sort of talked about it for starters has made me think more about it, and
that's a real change for you.
Yeah.
Suddenly for it to be something that you're thinking about, and you haven't shared that with anyone else in your family.
No.
Seems like you're quite close to them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think needs to happen in the context of your family then, in order for you to be able to do something differently to lose weight?
Well, the kids. I mean, I cook for the kids at weekends. When they come home with their families, because I've got grandchildren as well. And I enjoy the cooking, and of course I enjoy the eating.
Is that something that you could make a change to? What do you think needs to change in that area?
Probably nothing, when I think about it, because it's always a nice change for them to be here as well. I mean,
so it's important for you to have them there and have that time with them.
Yes, yeah.
But there's something about the cooking that you think's not helping your weight at the moment.
Well, because I'm eating it. I mean, the thing is, during the week, I'm particular about what I give to Richard to eat, because it's necessary. But it's there's no sort of excitement in it. I think I just eat for eating's sake. And
so there's a real difference between that weekend eating with your grandchildren and the week eating with Richard.
Yeah, sitting in front of the telly.
So of those two different types of eating, which do you think you need to make a change in more, and what would that be?
The weekday, I think.
And what would you do differently?
I suppose take as much care with what I eat as I do serving Richard, if you understand what I mean. You know.
Okay, and so how could you do that? How could you take even more care with Richard and the food that you eat with him?
That's a difficult one, that. I suppose I could always get a diet book, recipe book.
Okay, to freshen things up and
Yes.
give a little bit of difference. Well, we've talked about quite a lot in this consultation today, haven't we? We've spoken about your methotrexate, you wanting to get on top of your medication a little bit more, you not having a lot of time to look after yourself, and also that you really wanting to do something to shift your weight a little bit. And it sounds to me like you're sort of starting to form a bit of a plan around maybe buying a new diet book or taking more care with Richard and those weekday meals. Wondering how you'd feel about going away and having a think about that and what you could really do specifically, and then come back and tell me whether you've been able to make a shift and how that's been.
Yeah.
In terms of buying a diet book, have you got one in mind that you would like to go out and get?
I don't. I think I'd have to do some research.
Do some exploring.
Yeah, exploring.
Yeah. So how would it be if that was the thing that you did between now and the next time we see each other, that you spend a bit of time for yourself, if and when you can find that time, and go and find a diet book that really takes your fancy, and try it out?
Yes, yeah.
How would that be?
That would be quite good, yeah. Yeah. Yes, when I do my supermarket shopping, they've got the book and stationery section, so there might be something there.
Absolutely. So the next time you go to the supermarket, you might go to that aisle where those books are and maybe get one of those that looks particularly interesting.
Yeah.
So that's going to be quite a different thing for you, isn't it? Okay. Well, that's where we'll leave it today, if that's all right with you. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
No, I think that's food for thought.
Okay, lovely. Well, it's great to see you, and it'd be really good to see you back again and see how it goes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.